booting on grounds, coaches?
Well, it's illegal. Do you know there's an actual law that makes it illegal to push a pram on the pavement? There is still a bylaw that says you can't have a wheeled thing on the pavement. Now, that's a law, so every time you put a pram on the pavement, it's illegal. There's also laws when you do section 60, that if you drink 24 hours for the game or 24 hours after the game, that's illegal. So you could watch a match at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, go for a pint in the local club at 11 o'clock the next day and get arrested, that's illegal. In some cases it's illegal to enter the ground having consumed alcohol, that's illegal. Those are all illegal. But what we've got to do is to change the laws or question the laws. Now what we've done is we've spoken to the police. We're in the process of doing a document for all the police and asking the alternatives. We don't want to have to hide the fact that the lads have a drink on the buses. Now, we think it's more benefit to let people have a social drink in a controlled manner on coaches and then have a drink on the way home. What we won't allow people to do is to turn up at the ground, fall off a bus drunk, carrying cans and taking the mickey. What we do is we make sure before we get anywhere near the stadium, all the drink is put underneath. On the return journey, we get well away from the stadium, we stop the bus and we let people have a drink on top. Now, a lot of people who travel with us are working class people, they work all week. Their day out is watch football. Now, if you can give me any reason why getting on a bus from Wigan at 5:30 on Saturday night and then getting home at 10 o'clock and it's bad for you to have 3 or 4 cans on the bus on your way home, that's your Saturday night out and you're spending 5 hours on a coach. Now, if that's bad for you to sit on a bus and have a drink, then I don't see what's bad about it personally. Now, by keeping people together, we limit the possibility of things going wrong. It's not illegal to drink in a car going to a football match, it's not illegal to drink in a van going to a football match. You can go up in a train and get hammered in little small groups. There was more likelihood, and still is, of trouble occurring if people are roaming all over the place. Now, if we are writing to the police next year and every game we go to and tell them what we intend to do, if they say they've got a problem with that or they're not happy for us to take alcohol to the bus to the game, we don't take the buses. It's their choice. We're not going to have to hide things anymore or feel like criminals. We're going to give them the choice and say, if you're prepared to support this, I know it's illegal, but like I said, there's so many other things illegal. If they're prepared to work with us, we will meet them, we'll stick to their travel plans like we do, at the rendezvous points, we control ourselves. We support drinking, we don't support drunks. If people are drunk to the ground, check them out, by all means. You know, we can't start buying it. People be at risk and enter the ground drunk and cause problems or even injure themselves. But a social drink, I can't see the problem. Now, if they would rather have us in 15 buses where everyone's had a drink, or if they'd rather people make their own way up and have them all over town, you know, surely it's easier to have 15 busloads of fans in 2 pubs in a controlled method than 1,000 fans in 30 pubs sort of city. You know, that's their choice. You know, it's illegal, but let's change the laws. I think it was brought in at the time when people were organising coachloads of boys independently. You know, what I would like to see is that they say if it's an organised supporters group, then we'll support that, but make it illegal for people to do it independently if they want to carry on supporting that. But if it's an organised manner, then I can't see a problem with it. And you know, my experience is people involved in serious hooliganism now are more likely to be flying on a bit of cocaine or amphetamines rather than drunk. If I was up for a serious fight, I wouldn't want to be drunk, that's for sure. I'd want my wits about me.
Do you think season tickets will go up or down or stay about the same as last season?
I don't care really. You know, I think if people came last year aren't attracted by the chance of watching Leeds, Leicester, Wolves, Sheffield United, Notts Forest, Derby, Coventry, my God, West Ham, phenomenal. You know, if people can't afford season tickets, then so be that. I'm not obsessed by how many we sell or whatever. I want to see this ground full every week where they've paid on the gate. I'm sure the club would rather see everyone a season ticket holder. But, you know, when you consider last year, we had a fantastic year last year. Everyone was on a high after the Millennium Stadium. In my opinion, anyone who's going to get a season ticket would have got it last year. This year, we're still waiting for the stadium. Sam is very frustrated with that. He would love to announce that the stadium is going ahead and put a firm date in it. I don't think he's holding it back through his benefit. I think it's just red tape. Now, if we announced that we had the stadium now and we'd signed Ronaldo and Thierry Henry, I'm sure we'd get another 10,000 season ticket holders. But That's not the real world. What is encouraging, I know we've sold a huge percentage of season tickets again, much more than a lot of First Division clubs. But also what's interesting is of the season tickets sold this year, 7% are the people who weren't season ticket holders last year. So we already attracted 7% new season tickets. So I don't think we'll be far off, but I'm not obsessed by it. I want to see the ground full every week, whether people are members or paying the gate. I just want to see it full.
Do you think Sam's keeping everyone completely in the clear on goings on, or is he keeping us in the dark?
I think Sam is doing what he needs to do, really. I wouldn't want to have the worries he's got or David Temmie. I get worried if my pay doesn't go into my account on time to pay my mortgage. I wouldn't want the worries of knowing the business of Cardiff City and all the negatives. I've got enough worries as it is. I just want to hear the positive stuff. People get obsessed by what players. If we were told of every player they talk to, possibly decide one player, they may talk to 20. Now, I would rather know we've got one player coming which is a positive than we've lost 19. And I think about that, about business. Yeah, why should we be involved in business deals and whatever? That's not our, Sam sells a product, he sells the football club and the team. If you like the product, you come along. I don't think we need to know how much people are being paid or what problems they're having. It's a worry for Sam, but he'll get through that. That's his forte. He's an expert at it. I don't ask those sort of things because I don't want to worry of it. I really couldn't deal with the negative side. It brings me down. Every time I hear that this will be put back 2 or 3 weeks, I get depressed. I only want to hear the good news. So I think he tells us what he needs to tell us to protect us in a lot of cases. I'm sure Sam would really like to give us good news all the time, but he does what he needs to do, and we got to respect that. The man's got a great track record. We've achieved much more than we could have hoped in a short time. People got short memory. I think, my God, I've had some drastic years there when no one talked to us, nothing was done. I feel like banging head against a wall. We're nowhere near that now. I think it's great year. So I trust the man. If he does us down, I'll be very, very surprised. But if he walks away now, I've had 3 great years which I wouldn't have had if he hadn't come.
Where do you see us finishing next season with our current players, and how many goals do you think we'll score?
As long as we finish still in the First Division and we don't go down, this First Division is fantastic. We've got to have realistic targets and goals. We get the Premiership next year, when people say, when are we going to win the Premiership? When are we going to win the European Cup? It's nice to have ambition and keep going forward, but it's also, you've got to appreciate where you are at the time and smell the roses. My God, it's like sex, perhaps, when you're a youngster, you're waiting for your first occasion of sex. The build-up is great, but after you have your first sex, and do you want better and more and whatever, you've got to appreciate it at the time, my God, You're having a ride in a Ferrari, you don't think, my God, I can't wait to have a ride in a Lamborghini. I'm thinking, my God, I'm enjoying a ride in a Ferrari. We've got to appreciate where we are, and if we go down, it won't be the first time we go down, my God. We've got more desperate times than this. I'd love us to fly up the First Division and get promoted next year. I don't care, I want to go there and enjoy myself now, not worry about where we're going to be next year. I want to enjoy the moment. You've got to enjoy it rather than, when do people sit down and say, right, we're here now, I can enjoy it. Are we going to win the European Cup or win the triple? And people say, right, okay, I can relax now. I'm happy now. We've done it. From now on, I'm relaxed. Enjoy it now. These are the good days, for God's sake.
When do you think the stadium will actually start and be completed?
2024. I think what we should have done is tell everyone it's going to be built in 22 years, and then if it's built in sooner, people will be excited. Now, in the line of work I'm in, people always ask how long will something take. I always add a week on, and when it comes a week early, they're so grateful. Now, if you order something, if I order something from a catalogue, and they say it's going to take 10 minutes, I think, 10 minutes, why can't I have it now? If they said 3 weeks, I would say 3 weeks, why can't I have it in 2 weeks? I think that's human nature. If you put a date on something and people are panicking or whatever, let's just say that we'll have a new ground in 10 years' time. If you have it in 4 years' time, then fantastic. We've got ambition, hope, Because 3 years ago we went out of business. We had nothing yet. We were out of business. Everything has happened in 3 years, and people have we make it precious for ourselves, for God's sake. It's happening. It's getting delayed, but let's not make extra pressures. I quite like it here, you know. I'm happy enough to play Leeds, I'm happy enough to play Man United here. I just enjoy it now. Stop. You know, it's up to people, but the only thing I can give from my experience is enjoy where you are and enjoy the moments. Because when your park shuts, half of us will be crying because then your park is shut. I want a new stadium. I've had some good times, I've had bad times here, but enjoy it now. If it takes 6 months or 6 years, we got ambition. That's what it's about. You know.
Who did you vote for in elections and why?
I didn't vote for anyone this time actually because I didn't have a voting card. Some confusion. I'm not a political person, but I don't know what politics are really. Politics to me is if someone got ideas that I like, then I like them. You know, and I agree with what Sam said. He supported Russell Goodwin not because he was a Labour politician. It's because he supported Kansas City, and that's my attitude. And it's the same. When I live in Commandment, I'm moving out of the house I live in because they put traffic calming in and they've done things that really cause me chaos to get home. Now I wouldn't vote for the councillors who put that in because they've upset me personally and disrupted my lifestyle, and that's what local councils should be to me really, is local issues and whatever on a national scale of things. You know, if anything, I'm self-employed, I'm a businessman. I'd like to consider myself as a caring capitalist, basically. I hate the extremes of anything. I'm fairly middle of the road. I hate ultra left wing, I hate ultra right wing. You know, I agree with hanging for some people, but I don't agree with capital punishment. There's so many contradictions in politics, so many contradictions in life. I change my politics as they change their agendas, basically. You know, New Labour is nothing like Old Labour. Old Labour was bordering on communism, so frighten me. New Labour is far more attractive to me. Tory politics, right-wing Tory politics frighten me. As I said, I'm pretty middle of the road. And, I will change with whatever suits, really. I don't mean nail my colours to any main mast.
What do you think about the big banner flags outside Asda's with the England flag?
I don't find a problem. As I say, I wouldn't wear flying England flag on my car, but I wouldn't snap one off a car either way. You know, I think if I was up in England, I see Welsh flags in Asda's. I think it would be great. We're all British. I'm not likely to support England because they got flags in Asda's, but I'm not likely to disagree with Asda's putting them up. That's their choice. The flags in Asda's or whatever, you know, my God, the stuff on the internet, well, I think people must have shallow lives if that was their main interest. I didn't even take much notice of it really. I think, you know, I'd have been upset if England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland were in the European Championships. The only flags they flew were England flags. I'd expect them to fly all the flags to support all the home nations. But it's a case of damned if you do and damned if you don't. You know, if they didn't put them up, they'd say, why aren't you supporting the English team? There are English people in Wales, there are Welsh people in England. I don't feel that strongly about it. It doesn't offend me. I'm not bothered with it.
When are you going to organise travel by train or?
We've looked in the past, and I loved, you know, I've grown up in an era where football specials were the highlight of my life, and some of my best moments on football trains. Great banter, you know. I enjoy travelling in groups of 50 on a bus. You travel on a train of 700 like-minded people having a laugh, and it's fantastic. And we are looking at it. Some of the police are quite happy to support, the club are happy to support. If we can get 700 people in a group travelling to a club and off the other side, they're fantastic. And we're looking at it's logistics is the problem. Companies 3 years ago they would have touched us, you know, they wouldn't give us an armoured car, they wouldn't weigh much. Companies are prepared to do business with us. The coaches are quite happy to do business with us. The trains are. We're self-policing, you know. People appreciate if you get a train, if you're damaged, you don't get another train. You look after a train, you'll have another train. If it works. But we are looking at matches this year. What we don't want to do is what we can't do is chop and change. We're looking at going to West Ham, but it would have meant major detours. So we're looking at areas such as possibly Reading or Derby, somewhere we can go direct to, it's not too far from the ground. If it works, then we'll expand it. You know, we taking planes abroad now. We've got our own international committee. My God, you know, what's that? I was trying to get one bus for a couple of matches. Now we flying planes around the world with value rams on board. So yeah, trade is a natural progression. I hope it comes off this year. We look at it all the time.